She avoids you, not because she feels nothing, but because she is starting to feel everything. This is the first truth you must understand, and it is the most difficult. The silence that now sits between you, the one that feels like a cold, empty space, is not a void. It is a space so full of her rising emotion, her fear, and her uncertainty that she can no longer bear to face it, or you. You've felt this shift, haven't you? The sudden change in atmospheric pressure. One day, her laughter fills the room, her eyes lock with yours, and you feel a current of electricity. The next, her texts are short, her gaze is averted, and her presence feels 1,000 miles away. You are experiencing the paradox of profound attraction. When a woman begins to fall, her first instinct is not to lean in, but to pull back, to test the very ground she is about to surrender to. This is not a rejection, it is a prelude to surrender. You immediately assume you did something wrong. Your mind becomes a relentless detective, replaying every word, every gesture, searching for the fatal error. This is the masculine trap, the belief that every emotional effect must have a direct, logical cause that you are responsible for. You think her distance is a problem to be solved, a broken machine that needs fixing. So you start trying to fix it. You text more. You ask if everything is okay. You attempt to force a conversation to diagnose the issue. But you fail to see that her withdrawal is not a logical problem. It is an emotional storm. She is not asking you to repair the damage. She is silently watching to see if you are strong enough to stand in the rain with her without panicking and trying to command the clouds. If this is making sense to you, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts below. We are just getting started. The great lie you believe is that your value is determined by her response. When she pulls away, your ego interprets it as a direct failure, a negative mark on your worth. This sends you into a state of quiet desperation, a frantic need to prove yourself again, to win back the approval you feel you've lost. You believe that if you just say the right thing, make the right move, or show her how much you care, you can reverse her retreat. But this impulse, this need to times do something asterisk, is the very thing that will destroy the attraction. She is not testing your ability to perform or to pursue. She is testing your emotional center. She is unconsciously asking, is your peace of mind dependent on me? Every text you send seeking reassurance, every call you make needing an explanation, screams the answer yes, and that is the one answer that makes her feel unsafe. Look closer at her behavior. It's not a clean break. It's a chaotic dance of approach and avoidance. You'll get a brief, warm message, a flicker of the connection you had, only for it to be followed by hours or days of silence. You might catch her looking at you from across a room with an intensity that feels real, only for her to quickly look away when you meet her gaze. These are not the actions of a woman who is uninterested. These are the tremors of a woman who is deeply conflicted. A part of her is surrendering to the powerful pull she feels toward you, while another part is terrified of that very surrender. She is at war with herself, and you are simply witnessing the battlefield. The average man sees this inconsistency and calls it a game, but the man who understands sees it for what it is, a sign of a heart in turmoil, a profound signal that he matters far more than he realizes. So, you believe her silence is a verdict. You hear it not as an absence of sound, but as a judgment delivered. This is the first and most dangerous lie your mind tells you, the one that poisons everything that follows. Your ego, that fragile architect of your self-worth, immediately frames her withdrawal as a direct consequence of your failure. You scour your memory, replaying conversations like a detective examining a crime scene, desperately searching for the misstep, the wrong word, the fatal error that caused this sudden cold front. You are convinced that attraction is a delicate machine, and you, through some clumsy move, have broken it. This belief that you hold that much power over her inner world, that you are the sole conductor of her emotional orchestra, is the very illusion that robs you of all your actual power. You think you are solving a problem, but you are only deepening your own anxiety. This anxiety then demands action. It screams at you that stillness is surrender, that silence is defeat. You pick up your phone, and it feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. The message you compose is a carefully constructed trap designed to force a response, to extract the information you desperately need to calm the storm inside you. Is everything okay? Did I do something wrong? Thinking of you. Each one is a subtle plea for validation, a test you are sending her that you yourself will fail. You are not reaching out to connect. You are reaching out to control the narrative, to ease your own discomfort. You are handing her the reins to your emotional state, communicating without words that your peace is entirely dependent on her approval. She doesn't hear a man who cares. She hears a boy who is scared of the dark, and she just turned out the lights. The fundamental mistake you are making is believing her behavior is a logical response to your actions. You are trying to solve an emotional puzzle with a rational key, and it will never fit the lock. Her withdrawal is not a strategic move in a game of chess. It is an involuntary emotional reflex. It is the deep instinctual breath a diver takes before plunging into the abyss. She is not pulling away from times you, asterisk. She is pulling away from the overwhelming intensity of what she is starting to feel times for times you. Your attempts to analyze her, to corner her with logic, and to demand an explanation are seen not as care, but as a profound violation of her internal process. You are treating her heart like a broken engine, showing up with tools and a manual, when all it needs is the quiet, steady presence of a lighthouse in its storm. And so, every action you take to fix the situation only makes it worse. Each text you send that begs for a reply is another gust of wind in her internal storm. Each call she doesn't answer validates her subconscious fear that you cannot handle the pressure. She is testing the foundations of your emotional stability, and your neediness is creating cracks right before her eyes. She is looking for a mountain, an unshakable presence that can withstand the weather of her heart. Instead, your anxiety presents you as a pile of sand, shifting and eroding with every wave of her uncertainty. You think you are showing her how much you want her, but what she actually sees is how much you need times her. And need is the opposite of attraction. It is a weight, a burden, a demand she is not ready or willing to carry. Let's be honest with ourselves for a moment. You have seen this pattern before, haven't you? This frantic dance of chasing validation. You believe her attention is a reflection of your worth, so when it is withdrawn, you feel worthless. This triggers a desperate impulse to prove yourself, to perform, to win back the approval that you feel you have lost. You start working overtime to demonstrate your value, hoping she will notice and reverse her decision. But you are operating under the lie that her interest is something you can earn through effort, like a promotion at work. It is not. Attraction is not a negotiation. The more you try to convince her of your worth, the more you communicate that you don't believe in it yourself. You are seeking from her the one thing you must first give to yourself, a sense of unshakable inner value. This is where the path divides. The man who remains trapped in this lie will continue to chase, to question, and to push, inevitably turning her emotional storm into a permanent drought. He will exhaust himself trying to solve the riddle of her feelings, never realizing the answer lies within his own. But the man who is beginning to understand sees a different path. He recognizes that the impulse to act, to control, to seek answers is the enemy. He intuits that in this specific battle, the only winning move is not to play. He starts to wonder what would happen if, instead of filling the silence with his own anxiety, he simply held the space. What if he met her distance, not with pursuit, but with presence? This is the beginning of true power, the quiet realization that his calm is the only answer she was ever looking for. The hidden truth is that her avoidance is not a rejection of you, but a defense mechanism against the overwhelming intensity of her own feelings. As she begins to truly fall for you, she starts to lose her emotional equilibrium. that carefully constructed sense of control that has kept her safe. This vulnerability is terrifying for her. You must understand that this is not about logic. This is a primal, visceral reaction. The very ground beneath her feet is shifting, and her first instinct is not to run toward the epicenter of the quake, but to seek higher ground, to pull back until the shaking stops. Her silence is not emptiness. It is the sound of her inner world rearranging itself around you. She withdraws not because she feels nothing, but because she is on the verge of feeling everything. And the sheer magnitude of that emotional surrender scares her more than you can possibly imagine. Think about the nature of deep emotional surrender. For the feminine heart, it often feels like a dissolution of self, a beautiful but terrifying plunge into the unknown. You have become the face of that unknown. Every warm glance, every shared laugh has chipped away at her armor, and now she feels exposed. Her past, her experiences, and her instincts have taught her that this level of vulnerability can lead to profound pain. So she erects a wall. Look closely, and you will see it is not built of anger or indifference, but of fear. It is a temporary fortress. She is not building it to keep you out forever. She is building it to see if you are the kind of man who will stand patiently outside the gates, a calm and steady presence, or if you are the kind of man who will try to smash them down with neediness and demand. This is the test, and it is the most important one you will ever face with her. It is not a conscious, manipulative game she is playing. It is a deep, instinctual, and entirely subconscious screening process. When she pulls back and creates that chasm of silence, she is turning around to watch you. She is observing your reaction to the sudden void. Do you panic? Do you fill the space with anxious texts and questioning calls? Do you become angry and demanding? Or do you remain centered, unshaken, continuing to move forward with your own life and purpose? Her nervous system is asking a silent, critical question. Is this man a source of stability I can anchor to, or is he just another storm I will have to endure? Your non-reaction, your calm, is the only answer that allows her to feel safe enough to cross back over to you. Imagine her emotional state as a wild, internal storm. It's a tempest of excitement, fear, hope, and doubt, and it is completely outside of her control. She is afraid this storm will scare you away. She is even more afraid that you will try to control it, that you will demand the winds to cease and the rain to stop. When you frantically text to ask, "What's wrong?" you are not showing care. You are trying to command the weather. What her soul is truly seeking is a lighthouse. She needs to see your light shining steadily through her fog and rain, unbothered by the turbulent waves. She needs to know that you are not afraid of her storm. Your peace becomes her shelter, the one fixed point in her spinning world. Your ability to simply stand there, present and calm, tells her everything she needs to know. This entire dynamic is wired into her very biology. The feminine essence seeks a rock, an anchor in the chaotic sea of life. Choosing a partner is the ultimate emotional and spiritual risk, and her subconscious is designed to run stress tests on any potential candidate. Your reaction to her withdrawal is the most pure, unfiltered data she can possibly gather about your core emotional strength. A man who becomes anxious and needy under the pressure of her silence fails this test immediately, signaling that he cannot handle the weight of her reality. But the man who holds his ground, who remains a source of his own validation, communicates a profound and irresistible strength. She is not rejecting you with her distance. She is qualifying you for the most intimate and sacred role in her world. Have you ever felt this shift, where you sense she's not pushing you away, but measuring your foundation? So you must completely invert your perspective on her silence. You have been trained to see it as a punishment, a negative space you must endure or desperately try to fix. The truth is, her silence is a vacuum she is unconsciously hoping you will fill not with your words, but with your unwavering presence. She pulls away to see if your world collapses when she is not standing in the center of it. Does your purpose continue? Does your energy remain intact? Does your life still have meaning and motion without her constant validation? When she peeks back and sees that you are still whole, still on your path, still the man she was drawn to, two powerful things happen. First, she feels an immense sense of safety. Second, she feels an intense pull of attraction toward the strength of that self-contained world you inhabit. Picture her in her own space, wrestling with this powerful, terrifying feeling she has for you. She feels out of control, and her fear tells her that you must feel it too. She expects you to reflect her chaos, to start chasing, to demand answers, to validate her subconscious belief that this connection is too intense to handle. But you do something radical. You do nothing. You give her the gift of space. You continue to build your life, to connect with your purpose, to be the man you were before she entered the frame. This creates a profound cognitive dissonance in her. The man she thought would crumble under her absence is standing firm, radiating a quiet confidence. The empty space you've allowed is no longer empty. It is now filled with her growing respect and her deepening admiration for your self-control. Ultimately, her avoidance is a desperate, non-verbal plea for your masculine strength. She is not pushing you away. She is showing you the very storm she needs you to be stronger than. She is revealing her potential for chaos, to see if you possess an even greater potential for calm. The deepest truth is this: she is afraid of the depth of her feelings for you because she intuitively understands they have the power to break her open. Her retreat is a silent, subconscious invitation for you to prove that you are the man who can hold her together, not by controlling her, but precisely because you are so firmly in control of yourself. She is testing you to see if you are just another man who will be swept away by her ocean, or if you are, in fact, the shore. The ideal masculine reaction begins not with an action, but with a profound and disciplined inaction. The moment you feel that cold wave of her distance, your every instinct, conditioned by ego and insecurity, will scream at you to do something, to bridge the gap, to fix the problem, to send the text. This is the critical moment of choice. The common man obeys this panic. He reacts, but the centered man understands that this impulse is the real enemy. He feels the same surge of anxiety, but he does not become it. Instead, he observes it. He breathes into it. He recognizes it as a storm within himself, and he knows he must find his own calm before he can ever offer her a sanctuary. His first and most important move is to master the battlefield of his own mind. He chooses stillness not out of weakness, but as the ultimate expression of his strength. This stillness is not about ignoring her. It is about redirecting your energy inward. The man who understands this principle immediately turns his focus away from the screen of his phone and back toward the architecture of his own life. He does not use his purpose as a tactic to make her jealous. His purpose times is his center of gravity. He goes to the gym not to post a story, but to forge his body and mind. He immerses himself in his work not to distract himself, but because it is the source of his mission. He connects with his friends not to complain about her, but to draw strength from his tribe. He continues to build his kingdom, brick by brick, because his identity as a man is not contingent on her presence within its walls. This self-contained, forward-moving energy is the most powerfully attractive force in the universe, precisely because it needs nothing from her to continue its motion. Here you discover a quiet, philosophical truth. You cannot control the river. You can only become the banks that guide its flow. The man who suffers is the one who tries to dam her emotions, to demand that they conform to his expectations. He wants to know why the current has changed, and he thrashes against it, only to be exhausted by the struggle. The man who finds peace does the opposite. He practices non-resistance. He accepts that her feelings, like the weather, are a natural force beyond his command. He can only control his own foundation. He learns to stand on the shore, unshakable, and simply observe the tide of her emotions as they come in and go out. He realizes that you do not attract a woman by chasing her, but by becoming so still, so rooted in your own being, that your presence becomes the one fixed point in her turning world. This calm presence must not be confused with cold indifference. It is a warm, steady, and unwavering strength. When and if you do communicate, the entire energy behind your words is different. You are no longer seeking information or reassurance. You are no longer asking, are we okay? Because you, yourself, are okay, regardless of the answer. Your communication becomes a simple offering, a statement of your reality, without the hook of neediness. It might be a funny meme sent days later, a brief story about your day, shared with no expectation of a reply. You are not punishing her with silence. You are gifting her with space. You are demonstrating, through your actions, that your emotional state is not a fragile thing that she must constantly manage. You are the lighthouse, not another ship lost in her storm, and your light shines consistently whether she is sailing toward it or away. From her perspective, this non-reaction is both profoundly confusing and deeply attractive. She pulls away, subconsciously, expecting the predictable masculine panic. She is braced for the barrage of texts, the questioning calls, the subtle emotional manipulations designed to pull her back in. She has seen this desperate dance before, and it has always signaled weakness. But from you, she gets nothing of the sort. She gets silence. But it is not an angry, punishing silence. It is a calm, confident, and peaceful silence. It is the sound of a man who is so grounded in his own world that her absence does not throw it off its axis. This pattern interrupt shatters her expectations. It communicates a strength she has rarely, if ever, encountered. She is testing for a rock, and instead of a man who crumbles into sand, she finds a mountain. Ultimately, the ideal reaction is rooted in the art of release. You must let go of the outcome. You must find a genuine peace with the possibility that she may never return, and know that you will still be whole. This is the final and most powerful shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. When you no longer need her validation to feel complete, you are finally free, and it is in this freedom that true attraction is born. The man who is willing to lose her is the only man who is truly capable of having her, because his love is not a cage built from need, but an open field of presence she is free to enter and leave as she pleases. You cannot hold water in a clenched fist. You must open your hand, and in that gentle, confident stillness, she will find the one place she feels truly safe to land. And so you arrive at the final turn, the quiet clearing at the end of a long, confusing path. It is here that you finally understand the truth that was hiding in plain sight all along. The entire ordeal, the painful silence, the confusion, the anxiety, it was never about her. It was always about you. We began with this paradox. She avoids you not because she feels nothing, but because she is starting to feel everything. You first heard this as a problem to be solved, a complex female code to be cracked. But now you see it for what it truly is, a reflection of your own power. Her emotional storm is directly proportional to the impact of your presence. Her retreat is not a rejection of you, it is a testament to the profound effect you have on her. She is not running from you. She is running from the woman she is becoming in your presence, and she is terrified of the surrender that this transformation demands of her. This realization changes the very nature of the game, because it reveals there is no game to be played. Your power was never in what you could times do, times to get her back. It was always in who you could times become, times in her absence. The frantic need to text, to call, to explain, to pursue, these are the actions of a man who believes his value is external, something to be proven and validated by her. The man who understands lets all of that fall away. He recognizes that you do not attract by chasing. You attract by becoming so rooted in your own existence that your presence is a gravitational force. He ceases to be the chaser and becomes the destination. Her distance no longer creates a void in his world, because his world is already full, built upon the unshakable foundation of his own purpose, his own peace, and his own self-worth. He becomes the lighthouse she was always searching for in her storm. And when she looks back, as she always does, what she sees astounds her. She expects to find a man weakened by her absence, a boy lost in the dark, waiting for her to turn the lights back on. Instead, she sees a king calmly tending to his kingdom. Your non-reaction is not a tactic. It is the authentic expression of your inner state. You are not punishing her with silence. You are honoring her with space. This is the moment her fear begins to dissolve and is replaced by a deep, resonant respect. She sees that you are not another emotional burden she will have to carry, but a source of profound stability she can anchor to. The test is over, not because you passed it with a clever move, but because your very being transcends the need for testing. You are no longer a variable in her emotional equation. You have become the constant. This is the ultimate transformation. It is not about winning her. It is about becoming the man who makes the idea of losing you unbearable. You stop seeing her as a puzzle and start seeing her as a mirror, one that reflects back the areas within yourself that lack certainty and peace. She doesn't need your explanations of love. She needs to feel the stability of your presence. She doesn't need you to calm her storm. She needs to know you are the shore that will not be washed away by it. The entire dynamic shifts from an external pursuit to an internal mastery. You are no longer reacting to her. You are acting from your center. This is the end of the chase. This is the beginning of your power. Look again at her silence, at her distance. Comment what you now see in her, and more importantly, in yourself, that you couldn't before.